So I saw part one of the Carlos and Kenya Moore interview. And there will be a part two. Just spoiler alert, at the end of the episode, the interview, they say it's going to be a part two. So I just wanted to address some things. And I've always been clear that I've never been a Kenya Moore fan on Real Housewives of Atlanta. I thought that she changed the pacing of the show. I thought that she brought a level of inauthenticity to the show that I didn't like. And too much strife that she just brought an unnecessary tension to the show. Although Carlos King says in the interview, you and Portia saved the show because the direction of the show, it was going downhill. And mind you, when she allegedly saved the show, he wasn't the producer of the show. But then, so this is when she came on and she was Gone with the Wind Fabulous. But first, she and Portia met up at the charity event where, Portia made a mistake because, Portia became known for making her mistakes. But she said she was Miss America instead of Miss USA. Or am I making a mistake? I can't remember. I don't care about pageants.
Please define the word joy.
Joy, sir? I do not know the meaning of the word. But the Reverend Martin Luther King did.
But that is where their relationship went left. Because she said Portia just laughed at her. Oh, girl. But, she was serious about that title. You going to put some respect on my title is what Kenya was saying.
Miss USA 1993.
But for me, I feel like Kenya came on and she mentioned later on in the interview that she likes to size people up. And that's how I always felt about Kenya, that she's someone who wants to size people up physically. Like, I'm more beautiful than you. I'm the most beautiful woman in the world. And that to me is like, if you have to say it, then you're probably not. That's my rule of thumb on everything. If you have to say it, then it's probably not true or you probably don't believe it. Yes, she's a beautiful woman. Yes. She is. We get it. You're beautiful, Kenya. You're beautiful. You should have it all because of your beauty. We get it. And I think that's the part that I didn't like. And she just seemed inauthentic to me. Because, I know later on in the interview, she's going to mention the whole Walter situation. But the way they served it up is that she was in a fake relationship. And she denies that. However, there was no chemistry when they were in a scene together. When they were all in Anguilla. Was that Anguilla? When they were all there, when she was flirting with Apollo. Or am I getting things confused? I can't remember. It's been so many seasons. But I just thought she didn't bring authenticity to the show. It seemed like she came on acting, and mind you, and speaking of acting, she's not the best actress. Hence why she mentioned that she came to Atlanta because her life had become stagnant. She'd done the same thing over and over, i.e., coming on Martin as a girlfriend. She was the girlfriend, the girlfriend on every show. She came on as a sexy girlfriend in a tight dress with an updo French roll hair hanging down waterfall or whatever.
Martin, where the balls at?
Damn!
That was her career. Because my question is, Kenya, if you were that much of a threat in Hollywood, why weren't you taking those Nia Long roles? Why weren't you taking, who was hot back then in the 90s? I guess Gabrielle Union Rose.
You don't need Lucius.
Right. Didn't you have to go work for your baby sisters or something?
Oh, Eva, you broke Lucius's heart. Thank God you did, though. Or else I never would have got it.
Why weren't you that girl in the movies? Like, you were always just kind of a bit character to the side. Like, or the girlfriend. Like, you were in the movie with Marlon Wayans, Senseless. Like, Kenya's scenes in most movies, aside from 12, which she starred in, were only like 2-minute scenes. Like, she was never like the girl in anything that she was in. So, yes, I guess she did have to leave. And I do recall, and this is some inside stuff, in which I won't divulge too much because my friends are involved, but they once shot a video for Kenya when she had a book that she was trying to promote, and they were trying to do like this fake sex tape video, but she was a little hesitant because she had, her title, so she didn't want to imply there was sex. But I do recall her doing that because she was partly in desperation mode trying to promote this book and trying to get some money. So I can see how Kenya moved to Atlanta. She also mentioned that she wasn't a fan of the show beforehand. She said she'd seen a few episodes, and Carlos asked her, well, who didn't you like? She said, I didn't like Nene. I thought she was loud and brash.
Oh, hell no. I know that dress ain't got you thinking that kind of
No, I'm saying you don't hit nobody.
Okay, so you didn't like the star of the show, but yet you said, oh, I think I could be on this show with Nene. Okay, so obviously she wanted to be on a show. And this opportunity came. But she said, why did I have to audition? Do you know who I am? Yeah, we know who you are, and that's why you need to audition. You haven't been in anything as a lead. We need to see how you are going to do in this reality format. Yes, you have to audition. So she auditioned, but she did mention something about the auditioning process, that it's no longer the same. Whereas before, it was a really rigorous process. Like, oh my God, you have to film scenes in your, environment. Then you have to film scenes alone. Then you have to film eventually with somebody from the show. She said the person from the show was Miss Lawrence that she filmed with. But then she also mentioned she wasn't even a housewife yet when she and Portia had to film together. And this is when they were striking. So they needed a week of production. They weren't going to lose a week of production since everybody was striking. So she and Portia filmed the scene together. I'm guessing that's the...
Have a nice day. Bye, Ashy. Bye. That's all you got? That I'm ashy?
that put Portia on the map, which will always be memeable. And this is what I want to say. If you're such a star of the show, why aren't there many memes about, there are not a lot of Kenya Moore memes. There are a lot of Portia and a lot of Nene memes. Even a lot of Phaedra memes. But there are not a lot of Candy or, except for the lies. But a lot of Kenya memes. Interesting. That's just a side thought. But she was saying that she wanted to be, at reunion time next to Andy. And she had great stories. I beg to differ. I never thought Kenya had great stories. I always thought her scenes were contrived. Like, the one that stands out in my mind is this one. I just everything was contrived, is performative. Everything about Kenya was always performative to me.
I'm still here. And I'm still fabulous.
Well, you better preach now.
Right? Fabulous. Gone with the wind, fabulous. Okay? Thank you.
Well, all right now.
It never just seemed like it just naturally flowed. And that's when I feel like the show turned. It's like, we're going to have these scenes, we're going to go into these scenes, and we're going to make a scene, versus we're just going to let things naturally unfold. And I feel like that's where the story changed for me when it comes to Real Housewives of Atlanta, and for a lot of reality shows. They all became too stylized for me. Mind you, I still watch them. Not all of them. I still only watch Bravo shows. I had to let go like those VH1 shows years ago. But it's just the way that scenes were stylized. And I guess that's because of my background in advertising and working in commercials. I know how scenes are shot. I know how scenes are edited. And it just always seemed very contrived to me, a lot of her scenes. And that's just my opinion. Was she good for the show? Perhaps, I guess. To me, I feel like I don't know which direction the show would have gone in had she not been on it, but I kind of wish that she would have shown up as her real true self, the vulnerable self that she showed Carlos when she was talking about her mom. But instead she came with, I'm here to go up against Nene. I'm here to go up against Portia. And I think maybe production kind of leans these ladies into this whole conflict resolution format. We're going to have a conflict. We're going to go to lunch. We're going to go shopping and talk about the conflict. Then we're going to hash out the conflict. That whole formula is tired.
I want it to be over and done with. I do. I'm tired, boss.
but that's the formula that many shows have gone in, and maybe that's why she came on being performative. But I really wish that a lot of her scenes could have been more vulnerable versus,
Oh, honey, I'm gone with the wind. Fabulous. I was like, bitch, is it movie night? I mean, really?
I'm gonna flirt with Phaedra's man. Oh, Apollo is fine. Now, you could say editors edited your scenes in a weird way, but you did say Apollo is fine. So to me, that was inappropriate, and that's why I never really saw it for Kenya. But like I have ebbs and flows with all of these ladies. Like Nene will always be the GOAT to me, and I've said this before. But Nene's last few seasons, or when she first started cashing Trump checks, I was turned off by Nene. But I definitely think Nene is the GOAT of the show. And even Kenya has said that has been her biggest opponent, which I didn't find funny because, I know she had run-ins with Nene, but I feel like her biggest opponent has been Portia.
Yes, she did.
I
mean, but still.
She's a low-class whore, and she has definitely demonstrated that on this trip.
Don't do it. Just chill. Let me see, can I get her to calm down?
All I heard was her call me a tramp, and then I heard her call me ghetto. I am ghetto.
But I guess she just didn't want to give Portia any credit. And I'm noticing from the Nene interview to the Kenya interview that they are both giving each other kudos. But why not Portia? Your Portia run-ins is kind of what has kept the fire going on this show, at least in my opinion. But, she has umbrage with the fact that she never got a spin-off. Because I don't think they're discriminating against you per se. I think they are definitely looking at what is the story that you're bringing. Now, mind you, they didn't give her a spinoff for her Kenya's having a baby. I gave it a name. Kenya's having a baby. They didn't give her, and she said, you know why, but she never ever went into detail as you know why. But is it because of Mark that she didn't get the spinoff, or is it because they just didn't see any value in that story? But then again, Portia got a spinoff for her having a baby. But Portia comes with a certain amount of, she has a family drama with Dennis and Dennis's mom. She had all that going on, so that works. But what did Kenya have for her spinoff with the baby? And maybe that's why they didn't even entertain the idea of her having a spinoff. I feel like these network people, though, they have gone wrong with this formula and keeping this whole formula going. They know what will bring viewers. Like Candy and the Gang brings viewers. It didn't bring me. I didn't like it so much, but it's coming back apparently. Or like Nene's getting remarried to Greg. It brought viewers, although a lot of people did not like it, but they saw value in it. So obviously there's something about Kenya, and maybe there's been focus groups or testing to see does Kenya work. Like Kenya even produced that Life Twirls On show, but it went nowhere because one, it was poorly acted and it was poorly written, just from the scenes that I saw. So the network doesn't see value in it because they don't see the entertainment value in it. And I think that's where people get wrong. All of this stands for Kenya. Yes, I think you're glammed by her beauty and the way she can read people intelligently. But what does she bring outside of that? Her stories are never that compelling. Like even her story with Crazy Eyes, as she says, Matt, I believe that's who she was speaking of. That was interesting for 2 minutes. We're not interested because it didn't seem authentic, whether it's real or not real. It just didn't seem authentic to me. And that wasn't the major story of that season. None of her stories have ever really truly been the major stories of that season. And if she was so big of a star, the show wouldn't be suffering as it is right now. Although people say, well, she doesn't have a proper opponent. Or she doesn't have anybody to go up against. She's bored. She's tired of playing the villain. We'll say, had she come on playing herself, she wouldn't have to get tired of playing the villain. And that's why I say it's always been inauthentic with Kenya on the show. And I know people might come into the comments, and I welcome it. I welcome a real discussion about Kenya's role on the show. Because aside from her being beautiful and having Kenya more hair care, what does she truly bring? She reads. And I know these people are tired of the format themselves because they look like they're just dialing it in. But I do think that this current show, like she mentioned, they just let anybody on because the interview process isn't what it used to be. They don't have prominent people in Atlanta. They're actually flying people in. Like, I don't think Drew lived in Atlanta before getting on the show. And Sanya definitely didn't live in Atlanta. And can we get back to calling her Sanya and not Sanya? Like, Kenya said something in the interview. We can say things on the show and it'll stick. Like they said, oh, Walter's a fake relationship. Now we have a fake baby. Now we have a fake marriage. Well, we have a fake marriage. Now we have a fake baby. Just like her name is Sanya, not Sanya. But Kenya called her Sanya, so now everybody calls her Sanya. But as I recall, on her original reality show, her name was Sanya. Sanya. They always call her Sanya. So she's right about that. Things can stick with you. People can plant a seed and it can stick. And that's in life in general. People can plant a seed about you from 1996 and still think that that's who you are in 2023. This whole interview with Carlos King, to me, was him, of course, kissing her ass, booty licking as usual. He just booty licked Nene. Now he's booty licking her. So do they actually have something in the works? Because what is Kenya's future on this show? Because, you know, everybody wants them to just throw the whole cast away.
Throw it away. Tell her to throw it away. She threw it away, all right? Okay.
Throw away Kenya. Throw away Candy. What is the future of Kenya on this show? And are you looking forward to part 2 where they talk about, they brought up that Kenya wanted to Apollo's eggplant? So they're going to talk about that. But do we really want to hear about that again? But I mean, we're going to all tune in to watch because, let's face it, it's you know, we're going to tune in to watch because it's something to watch on YouTube. Anyhow, like and subscribe and drop into the comments and tell me what you thought.